Steam is getting sued. And surprise, surprise, we are the ones who's footing the bill. Amazing, truly. What a gift. Lately, it feels like gaming is being invaded by people who literally don't play games, don't understand games, and somehow they claim they are protecting games. Right now, Valve is under fire for allegedly overcharging players. A group claiming to represent 14 million UK gamers is suing Steam for over $900 million. And honestly, I'd love to meet these 14 million people because I'm not really convinced that they exist. This lawsuit isn't about helping players. It's about punishing Steam for being too good at what it does. Today, we are breaking down why Steam is being targeted, who's really behind it, and why competition here is just a fancy word for making gaming worse for everyone else. This whole thing is being pushed under a campaign called Steam You Owe Us. It's led by Vicky Shotbolt, the same advocate who backed the UK's Online Shady Safety Act. Yeah, that one. The law that casually destroyed online privacy and called it safety. Their argument is that Valve is abusing its market dominance and making players pay too much, which honestly sounds kinda hilarious because the biggest problem Steam users have was never the high prices. It's like owning 300 games they have never installed because the Steam sales are just borderline criminal, especially on those indie games. The lawsuit attacks Valve on 3 different fronts. Anti-steering, basically claiming DLCs only work if you bought the base game on Steam. Price parity, claiming that Steam blocks developers from selling their games cheaper on some other platforms, and excessive commissions, going after the 30% commission that Steam charges from the developers. Well, all of this sounds kinda wrong until you actually use like 2 of your brain cells and think about it for more than 5 seconds. Let's start with the DLC argument. They're calling it anti-competitive, that Steam DLC only works with Steam copies of the game. That's literally how every other platform works. Buy DLC on PlayStation, you can't use it on Xbox. Buy DLC on Xbox, that does not just magically work on PC. This isn't just a Valve problem, it's basic platform architecture. Literally anyone with like a single idea of how games are made and how games are produced and marketed in different platforms would know that this is not a Valve problem. Now the commission argument. Steam takes 30%. Well, so does PlayStation, so does Xbox, so does Nintendo. Even GOG is sitting at 30%. So why is Valve the villain? Because they are too efficient. Regulators are basically saying you're making too much money per employee, therefore you must be cheating. This is not consumer protection. They are basically punishing a competent company because it's too good at doing its job. Now, one of the so-called problems with Steam is the price parity. Internally, Valve told that they don't want Steam customers to feel scammed, like buying a game today only to find it half-priced on some other platform tomorrow. Legally, this is anti-competitive, but from a player's perspective, this is actually really good for us. Price competition is like the laziest kind of competition. It lets bad platforms avoid fixing multiple features by just slapping a big discount on their games. If price becomes the only factor, we end up juggling 10 different launchers, fractured libraries, broken friend lists, and zero quality control just to avoid getting ripped off. Steam doesn't compete on price. It has never been the main selling point for Steam. It competes on service, and that is way harder to replicate. I mean, just take a look at the other game stores, right? Who's using Epic, by the way? Of course, Tim Sweeney and Epic Games. Yeah, if we are talking about Epic Games, we have to talk about Tim Sweeney, right? Dude is really loving this. Sweeney compared non-transferable DLCs to cars, arguing that manufacturers shouldn't control what you do after you purchase, which is wild coming from the guy whose own store has non-transferable DLCs and who charges 5% commission as Unreal Engine loyalty unless you sell on his own store. The Apple and Google comparisons that he does not work either. They own the hardware, they own the OS, they can block competitors. Valve does not own Windows. They cannot stop you from installing Epic Games or GOG or from any other source that you want to download the games from. Steam just won't because it's better, not because it's locking doors. People just prefer downloading games from Steam. If these regulators ever talk to real gamers, they'd understand something very simple. We don't use Steam because it's dominant. We use it because it's good. Refunds actually work and they don't ask any questions. Workshop modding that is completely baked in. Steam Deck support that is done right and is now literally carrying gaming on Linux. Community reviews that show recent issues, not just fake praise and false paid reviews. AI disclosure rules so that you know what you are buying. Banning crypto and blockchain scams before they even become a plague. Not to mention family sharing so that you don't have to buy 5 copies of the same game so that every one of your family can play it. Steam consistently delivers what other platforms promise but never deliver. If Steam loses this case, gamers don't win. Prices won't magically drop. You think EA or Ubisoft will pass those savings on to you? No, they'll pocket the difference and keep pushing $70 and $80 games. This lawsuit is about nerfing the fastest runner because everyone else refuses to train harder. That is what it is. It's an attack on their one platform that feels like it was built by gamers for gamers. So the so-called 14 million UK gamers being represented here, have you guys actually lost your minds? If you are one of those 14 million UK gamers, I want you to comment down below what was your reason behind this. Why did you go ahead and participate in this movement if you are even a part of it? Or if you are just a gamer from UK, I would love to know what's the opinion of gamers in UK for real. Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.